Hello, world. You are in tune to the Know It All podcast. And of course, you got your usual suspects, the know it alls who know the most, yourself, myself, Big G, and Tate. What's up, you guys? How y'all doing?
What up, Mod? I'm good, man. Been, watching these football games all day, but that's about it.
Hey, man, that cold weather, that hawk is starting to come, man. I know me and Big G was talking about that off air, man. Big G, how you doing, bruh?
Man, it's cold in Ohio, man. We got a little bit of snow on the ground, but the cold is coming even more this weekend for the Christmas holiday. But I'm warm inside my heart right now because there was a certain team that lost a certain game today that we're going to talk about later on the show.
We definitely
Man,
gonna
big,
talk
big,
about it.
big, big G, such a hater, man.
He is. I mean, his team is barely solvent right now, and he's just hating away because he got something to do. But hey, man, listen, I just want to say, man, thank you guys for watching, man. Definitely, if you are live with us, man, make sure that you like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube and Twitch, so that when we go live, you will definitely get those notifications. All right. We're about to get into a lot, man. We have a special guest coming with us today. He'll be in shortly. Definitely, before we get started, let's get into this. And we are back, man. We are back, man. Listen, when I say that this has been one of the wackiest, I mean wackiest NFL seasons that we've ever just been a part of, man. I mean, crazy comebacks, teams winning that shouldn't, and people just getting hurt in crazy different ways, man. And man, we're gonna start this week out, man, just talking about Thursday night's game, which I thought Thursday night's game was just it was crazy. I mean, at one point they were losing 30-3, wasn't it? 30-0. What was it, G?
They was down. The final score was 33-36, but the halftime score was 33-0.
33-0. So the Indianapolis coach were Jeff Saturday. You know, it should be Monday. You know what I'm saying? But Jeff Saturday came in and took over. And Jeff Saturday had this team up 30-3. I mean
33 to nothing.
33-0, bro. And then all of a sudden they lost. Watching that game, did you watch the game?
I watched the whole game.
Watching that game, man, what through your mind when you seeing the Vikings come back? Like, talk to me about that. What was actually going through your mind?
Well, the first thing I thought was that this proves why Jeff Saturday never should have got an opportunity to be an NFL head coach, because he didn't come up through the ranks. He never was an assistant. He's an all-time great for the Colts, but Doc, he lost that game. I mean, Kirk Cousins. Let me say this too. Kirk Cousins put up the most fantasy points I've ever seen for a guy that played flat-out trash for a football game. Kirk Cousins played horrible. He just got hot. And all the little check down passes he was throwing to Cook and to the other little wide receiver with the dreads, number 17, and throwing it to Jefferson, little dump passes turned into 60 and 70-yard burst plays. But Kirk Cousins, he threw for almost 500 yards and played horrible. So, but Jeff Saturday, I think the U-Haul's waiting on you, bro. If it ain't already there, I think the U-Haul's waiting on you because
I think it's waiting. And let me correct myself. That was Saturday. That was Saturday's game. Yeah. But yeah, man. We have our guest with us right now, and we're gonna go ahead and bring him in. We're definitely gonna bring in our guest right now. Everybody who's been watching we got our guy, Dennis Mitchell, who's here with us, man, on the Know It All podcast. Miss Mitchell, how you doing, sir?
What's up, guys? What's going on, man?
Hey, man, it's good to have you here. It's good to have you here. Why don't you introduce yourself to the world and to our viewers, man? Introduce yourself to the podcast.
Well, I don't know how long you need me to be, but obviously I'm Dennis Mitchell. I was a United States track and field athlete, and now I'm a United States Olympic level coach. I was in 3 Olympic Games. I got a gold, a silver, and a bronze medal. I have a slew of world championship medals, both in the 100 and the 4x1. Um, I guess that's about it. I've coached. I've been coaching for 22 years
Okay, there we go.
since I retired, and I've coached. I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 Olympic medals and over 20 world level medals.
Wow. Do you get any of those medals? Do you get any co-medals or anything for that when they get a medal?
You know, the only thing that they give us is when I get an athlete, an American athlete that gets an Olympic medal, they give us what's called an ECOS medal.
Mm.
And it's it's an Olympic sized medal. It's silver. And that's basically what they give us coaches.
Oh, man, that's dope. That's dope. And you're coaching, so we know that you're coaching. And we had the honor of having your wife on the show earlier, man. So, definitely I'm happy about that. And Kevin,
Yeah.
why don't you give us a little bit of some background with Mr. Mitchell, man? You go ahead, take the floor.
Hey, and this is an ECOS medal.
Oh, that's dope.
Okay.
That's dope.
Yeah, that's nice. But nah, man. Well, Dennis, Coach Mitchell is my brother-in-law. Like you said, his wife Damu is my wife's sister. So we've been around each other for about 15, 16 years now. About great guy. I've had the privilege of traveling with him once. The family did when he was coaching some athletes in Qatar. We went there to visit for about 9 days.
Yeah,
And I
it
got
was a while.
It was a while. Yeah, it was a long trip. And it was no cost to me. So thank you, Coach Mitchell.
Hey,
It's
man,
one
we
of the
had
perks
put
you
all
get,
that
man.
business
That's a
in the
perk,
street
baby.
now, Tate.
What'd you say?
All that.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Mark? I'm sorry.
I said, Tate, you didn't have to tell all that, man. That's
Oh, well,
what I'm saying.
I'm trying to explain the connection here, man.
Your brother hooked you up. Yeah,
Hey,
somebody else might want that, and you can't do that.
This is true.
hey, Coach Mitchell, I got something to ask you real quick, man. I looked your accolades up, and of course we talked before, but I looked your accolades up, and you're on that GOAT level as far as a track coach is concerned, man. I mean, you might not say it, but I looked up who you're training, what athletes you're connected to, what you're able to do, and what you have done as a coach. And that's GOAT level stuff you got going on, man. That's Hall of Fame stuff.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, but it's a work in progress, man. I still got a long ways to go in the ranks of coaching. I mean, I'm 56 now, and I'm still a puppy, man. So I got a little ways to go.
Yeah, that was going to be my question, was to ask you, what coach did you like, man, when I go into this, I want to be like this guy. Was there a guy out there when you said, man, I'm going to become a coach on an Olympic level? Was there a coach that just inspired you to do what you do?
Well, with me, it's kind of unusual because even as an athlete or as a coach, I never tried to really idolize anyone. I respected others, but I didn't idolize anyone. My hero and the guy who I modeled myself after as an athlete and as a coach was Muhammad Ali. He was my guy. I loved everything that he stood for, both in and out of the ring. I liked his swag, in and out of the ring, and I liked his social stance that he had.
Yeah.
And he was the first well-rounded athlete that I had ever experienced, and I've always tried to model myself after him.
Mm.
So he's been the only guy that I've been chasing all these years. Now I do
Wow.
have coaches that are, are confidants of mine. We just like in football, we have a coaching tree,
Mm.
and my coaching tree comes off John Smith. Um, he's if you want to say GOAT, he's one of them.
Yes, sir.
Him and Bobby Kersey are probably the best coaches in the history of the United States.
Mm.
But I'm pretty much off his tree, and that's kind of it. But I really don't walk through life trying to idolize anyone. Um, but if I had to get close to one, it would be Muhammad, man.
Yeah, man. Man,
Man, I
that's
love that. Good evening,
yeah.
Claude. B Dirt, man. Definitely happy to have you guys on the show. And here with us in the crowd. Man, listen, I gotta jump right to it, man. I gotta jump right to it.
Let's
I gotta
go, baby.
I gotta get into it. So, after doing some homework, I sat down and I heard some noise and some rumbling. Tyreek Hill said something, you know, and I had to go back and check, Tyreek's receipts, and I saw something. Tyreek Hill
Mhm.
in high school ran a 20.14 in the 200. And if you look at this name, it's a couple of familiar names there. Noah Lyles, definitely, and Roy Martin. Some names I remember, and some recent names. But he said that he could probably get out on the track and do some damage, man. I gotta ask you, as a track coach, talk to me about that. You think if he actually went back and trained, he was running 20.14. If he went back and trained, do you
I
think that
mean,
he would actually be a viable track entity out there on the track right now? Now, before I let you answer this question, I got to show you something else. The next thing that I'm showing you here is Matthew Boland. Matthew Boland ran the official 10.13 with the all conditions time. His time was 9.98, right? So Matthew Boland ran a 9.98 in high school, and right now currently is running at Georgia that same
I see
9.8.
you. I see.
So
I see you had Jeff Dimps up there, man. I was one of Dennis athletes too.
Yeah.
yeah, so my
yeah.
question is, if Matthew Boland could do it and it translate from high school to college, you think Tyreek would have been able to do it, or he's able to do it right now?
Well, first I'm gonna give everybody some credit. You never say never, right? But the one thing that the difference between those two is that Matthew kept running. Tyreek stopped running altogether after high school and went 100% football. So he's been longer out of the sport
Mm-hmm.
than a usual person would actually do if they were going to retire and come back, right?
Mm.
Uh-huh.
So you have some development in Matthew Boland that you don't have in Tyreek.
Right.
Okay, now you said a statement that Matthew Bowling is running pretty much the same time that he ran in high school. He's still running those times in college, which is a credit to him. But you got to understand, there's a whole backstory to that. You know, for him to go from high school to college, is a huge change for him. He's got to go away from home. He's got to live in the dormitories. You have all of these different variables. You got to go to class. In a whole different, coaching system. You have all these different variables that he had to go through in order to stay the same.
Mm. Yes,
You
sir.
know what I'm saying?
Understand.
So with Tyreek, if you put him in that same situation, like I said, I'm never going to say never, but if you put him with those same variables, you may or may not get those same outcomes.
Makes sense.
Mm.
Now the other thing you got to say is let's just say Matthew Boland, I think he's going to be a senior this year, and he's pretty much running about the same times that he was running when he was in high school. Okay, so you take Tyreek and put him in that same situation right now. let's just say it's going to take him half of that time to redevelop his speed to get back to where he was running when he was in high school. Well, if he did that, he would just be okay on the
Right.
world stage.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
you seen what happened to DK Metcalf when he get out there. I mean,
yeah, but that's you just can't run. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm from Texas, man. Texas, we breed them down here, man. Texas T. You just can't just hop out on the track and think that you could do that, man. Track speed is totally different from football speed, but at the same time, speed is speed. But yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that. And I ask you another question, because this guy kind of piqued my interest. I saw them run in state about a couple years ago, man. Jose Garcia and Connor Washington. These guys in 2021 put up some numbers, man. Hey, they put up that 10 flat. I thought it was crazy, and I was wondering, are these some of the guys that you think will be next up and comers, or we just don't know? Kind of like what you said with the Tyreek thing and Matthew, with what Matthew's been able to do.
Well, the one thing that you have to watch, and I know you're from Texas, so don't take this bad, but we always kind of look at Texas a little funny because you guys have hella wind in Texas, and they don't always track that wind. You know what I
Right.
mean? So if you have a normal track and field athlete that runs 10.3 or 10.4 in 100, which is okay, right? But then you put, a 5 or 6 or 7 mile an hour tailwind behind them, they're going to run 10 flat, and that looks pretty on the books, but you're still a 10.3, 10.4 guy. You see what I'm saying?
I hear you.
So when you see something that says, under all conditions and whatnot, it usually means it was a hell of wind behind them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So as a coach, you kind of have to be cautious of those things.
Mhm.
And you kind of, sit back and you say, well, okay, let him order, or, let him go to California or somewhere else where the wind is not as strong. And if he duplicates it, you give him his credit. If he doesn't, you keep developing.
bust that little Texas bubble, huh, man?
No, bubble ain't busted. Bubble ain't busted, man. Because I'm gonna tell you, it's some sprinters. I mean, Carl Lewis was from Texas. So what you got to say?
Carl Lewis was not from Texas. He was New Jersey, baby.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
He came up and did his damage in Texas. It is what it is.
But the one thing I can give Texas is you guys, pound for pound, do send out the fastest guys in the nation. Now, are you the best? That's up for debate. But pound for pound, if Florida sends 2, you guys gonna send 4. So you guys really do a great job of high school sports all around.
Oh, absolutely. And being that we said that, just real quick, Roderick Simpson said Nicholas Harbor football and track high school senior, #1 ranked athlete. I want to send a shout out before I forget to, man, listen, one neighborhood beat a whole state in football. Dallas South Oak Cliff, Duncanville, and DeSoto are all in 12 miles of each other, and all of them won state championships. And that's the best neighborhood in the state of Texas. Baby, practically one of the best neighborhoods in the nation in football. Shout out to them boys. But listen, Dennis, one of the things that I want to ask, since we're talking about this and we're talking about the contrast between, different states, athletes, why is it, man? Because when I went to school playing football, it was always somebody from Jamaica or the Bahamas who was super fast. Why is this, man? Like, tell me, what is it about, these foreign athletes, or just, let's say, Jamaica and the Bahamas? Why are they so daggone fast, man?
Well, I mean, I can't really say, exactly why, but what I personally think, and you guys know, I've been in the sport for a long time. Like I said, I'm 56, and I started running when I was 4. So I've been in the sport for a minute, right?
Wow.
And
Yeah.
the thing that happens is it's a thing that the United States is always the country that everyone looks to beat. So when we have an influx of sprinters that come through the United States, and we start winning the 4x1, we start winning 100, we start winning the 200. Well, that motivates other countries to train harder.
Mm.
So we're always that shining light of, we want to beat those guys.
Mm.
And it's not just the Caribbean countries, it's all over the world. We're the living standard of track and field when it comes to sprinting. And when people see us doing good, then it motivates them to do as well. The only thing that has changed that is the world of Usain Bolt. Now, we're kind of looking at Jamaica and we're saying, we have to have our standard as high as theirs, but the country that is the leader of that particular event is what everyone else looks to try to compete against.
Mm.
So it's really just us against them, and it motivates them to get better.
Mm.
Wow. Love it. Love it. Big G, you had a question?
Yeah, I got a quick question to ask Dennis about his past when he was running track and as an athlete. Dennis, you're 56, so that means you were at the University of Florida, maybe close to the same time that Willie Galt was at the University of Tennessee. Did you guys overlap and run against each other?
No, Willie Galt and Herschel Walker, they were a year or two before I came to University of Florida.
Mm-hmm.
My guy was Deion Sanders.
Mm.
Deion and Deion came out with me.
Right. So he was at Florida State when you were at Florida.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So knowing what you know as far as like just some of those names that you said, Willie Galt, Herschel Walker, Deion Sanders, which one of those guys were you like, man, when you were running, like, man, look, this dude is just unbelievably fast. I just can't see. And I'm talking about guys that played other sports, because of course we know that track athletes, there's a different kind of speed going on with track athletes,
Yeah.
But a guy that jumped from to play baseball, football, or football track or track football, what guy did you were like, man, this dude is really, really fast, man?
Well, I guess out of all of those guys, believe it or not, probably be Willie Galt.
Mm.
Because, and the reason why I say that is because when I was running, I ran 100, 200, 400, 800. I ran damn near everything on the track.
Right.
And Willie Galt was one of those kind of guys too. He ran the sprints and he ran the hurdles.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a very versatile athlete. So I was always looking at those guys that were dual or triple threats, in the track world. And he was one of those guys. So if I had to pick one, it would probably be him.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, so was Prime really that fast, man? Did you ever run against him? Was he really that guy, man? I mean,
man, don't get people tweeting at me, man. But
I mean, as far as we know,
he ran out of Jackson State real fast.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he was fast. But he more or less just kind of competed on their 4x1. He wasn't really an open guy. When their team, 1 year qualified for the NCAA's, it was for the relay. So he had, I think it was three guys that were on the football team and one track guy.
Mm-hmm.
And, with those 4 guys, they still qualified for NCAA's. So as a unit, he was a contributing factor, but not so much in the, in the open races like the 100 and 200.
Wow. I was just real interested to see, because the question, of course, because we cover all sports, but, we do the football thing a lot on the show. And, I hear a lot of guys bump about how fast this guy and that guy is, man. And I'm like, listen, man, I know a guy that knows a guy that is real, real fast. And this guy is telling me that these other guys might not be as fast as what we think. Nothing against them, not dogging them, not saying that they ain't, but like they might not be the burners that we think, comparatively speaking, to some of the speed that we see on the track and field, on the, at that level,
Yeah, guys, one thing that is going around, there is some track guys that are going at, Tyreek and a couple of the football players, and they all, all the track guys want to race. They want to get you on the track to see what you can do, But really, this whole thing is a marketing ploy.
Right.
Who's going to win that argument? A football guy or a track guy?
Mm-hmm.
It's just all about marketing, and for a football guy to say, hey, I have world-class speed, or a commentator to say, hey, this person has world-class speed or was state champion in high school or whatever,
Right.
you know, it boosts him up a little bit, you know. But if you tell a track guy when he's running 100 that, you know, hey, this guy has some football speed, you know, it doesn't translate the same.
Right.
You know, so it's a thing that football guys want to be known as a world class sprinter, because for them it's about money.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
if they're considered fast, that's a check to them.
Right.
You know, but if you compare a track guy to football, it doesn't necessarily translate into a check for us. Nobody cares whether a track guy can play football or not.
Right.
It just doesn't translate. So who wins that argument? The football guys win it every time, because it all going to come down to marketing.
Yeah. Yeah. I.e. the cheetah. That's what Tyreek
There
Hill
you
called
go.
himself, the cheetah. I mean, you
There
ain't
you
no
go.
cheetah, though. You like a baby lion out in the middle of the jungle somewhere.
There you go.
You know,
Now
when you,
he's gonna talk his smack all day long on Twitter, you know, but he's not gonna go out there and race these guys. He's got too much to lose. He doesn't want to make that marketing ploy something real.
Oh,
And the
no.
track guys are arguing for something real. They want to race you because,
Me.
you know, that's where they think they're gonna get their money.
right.
Dennis, everybody wanted to get into a street fight with Kimbo Slice until they actually did. So I mean,
There you go.
it's one of them things that anybody could talk a good game, as long as you're not doing it. So I mean, definitely, I don't see that happening at any time. I mean, I get it. You may be in the same place at the same time with somebody who's super fast. Even you got Marquise Goodwin, who plays for the Seahawks, who he ran college track, but I mean he's fast, but I mean a 10-3 versus a 9-8, that's no comparison. You know what I'm saying? I mean
And Marquise, he's one of my guys, man. I talk to him all the time when he comes back and long jumps at our national championships. You know, he has a tremendous respect for the sport. You know, so you don't see him out there, you know, gun bumping about who's fast and who's not fast. Because I mean, he understands and he respects both sides of the coin. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, he could go out there and say, hey, I'm the fastest guy, you know, at this track meet or that track meet. But he doesn't do that because he has a lot of respect for the skill that it takes to run 100 meters at 30 miles an hour running 9.8. He's got respect for that.
That's something else.
Man, you just blew me away when you said 30 miles an hour. A
Yes,
human
sir.
being running 30 miles an hour. Oh my
Yes,
God.
sir.
That oh man, man.
Now, do you think, you know, with the NFL and they're doing all this, you know, clocking on how fast people are running, and this guy got to 22 miles an hour and he got 25 and 26 miles an hour? Come on, man.
30
That's
miles an
just
hour.
some. They just told some guy, hey, put on the video how fast he ran. They didn't clock anything. It's almost impossible to do that.
Right.
You know how much
Well,
electronics we have to have on the track to see how fast somebody actually runs.
Right.
Yeah, sports science. They're trying to explain
man.
sports science. But in retrospect, I mean, if we were, like you said, if we were going backwards and reverse engineer that whole thing, I think it would be hard for a track athlete to go to start playing football at a level. Is different, So each sport has its own difficulties, and I think a professional in any sport. Let me say it like this: if you reach the professional level in any sport, you better have respect for that, because you can't disrespect a professional at anything. See, we have our strong opinions and we say this person's trash or this person's garbage, but hey, they were professional. And you can't, I mean, for real, even the person who trained, who comes in last at the Olympics, he trained all year for that, man. You know what I'm saying? That's professional. You can't just whiff at that and be like, oh, you garbage. No, it's not like that. It's definitely not like that.
That's the absolute truth, man. I mean, when you look at, let's just say the Olympic Games, you know, you start out with 34 to 36 guys. You know, in Olympics, it starts out more than that. And you beat every single person to whittle it down to 8 people left on the track. That's the entire globe of the world, that it comes down to 8 guys. You know, and if you don't have respect for the first guy and the last guy, something wrong with you, man.
Respect for that craft. I hear it. I hear it all day.
He said the respect for the first, because anybody can get you. Anybody can get. It's part of it. They've been training for that. So let me ask you, when does the average track season start? Like when does it start? When does it end?
Well, in the totality of it, you know, these guys only get about at the most 6 to 8 weeks off. But the competitive part of our season usually starts at the end of March. And I mean, right now it's going to about the middle of September. And during that period, man, we travel all 4 corners of the planet, man. We are all over the place.
Wow.
We'll start the season out in Africa, and we'll end the season up in Oregon.
Right.
So and we'll go to Asia, we'll go to the Middle East, the Caribbean, all over the United States. I mean, the only place we really don't go very often is South America.
So I got a sort of a question that piggybacks off of that. The Olympics are in 4-year intervals. How early do you start where you're like, okay, these are the pool of guys that we're going to pick for to set them up to be ready for the World Championships and then on to the Olympics? Is that like a year-round thing, or you got a set of guys and maybe 15, 16 guys, and we'll say, okay, we're going to pick out of these guys to pick the guy? How does that process work?
Well, I'll just move you all the way up until the Olympic year itself. We have what's called the Olympic trials. And the Olympic trials is where they decide who's going to be on the Olympic team. So the process that year would be our goal, our qualifying time right now is 10 flat. You have to run 10 flat to qualify for the trials. And they only take 36 guys in the United States. So
Wow.
of those 36 guys, they whittle it down in, I think it's 3 rounds. They whittle it down to 1 round, which is those 8 guys again. And from those 8 guys, they choose the top 3 that will run the 100 meters. And they take 6 total, the top 6 that come in for the relay. But preparation for it, you know, that's a lifelong journey, man. I mean, the day that I decided that I wanted to be an Olympian is when the 1984 team came into the stadium for opening ceremonies. And to me, it wasn't about running track. It was about, hey, I want to come and open the ceremonies with those guys. You know, so that's where my Olympic, you know, journey started. And it starts different for everyone. You know, and then 4 years later, you know, I'm on the Olympic team going to Seoul. You know, but the Olympic journey itself is different for everyone. But you do, for every single sport, you do have to try out for the Olympics. You have to make the team. They just don't pick you.
Yes, sir.
You got to compete for it.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, a lot of people ask me that, so I just wanted to know that answer.
Yeah.
You had a question?
I've been waiting patiently on y'all, man. I got a couple of questions. My first question is, on the track and field circuit right now, I foresee, and she's already a big thing, but the next big thing to be Sydney McLaughlin. But I'm asking you, Coach Mitchell, who do you foresee being the next big thing? Like just in terms of track, I mean, on the track and off the track.
Well, you know, with me, obviously, I'm in the sport and I'm a coach. You know, so I'm not going to discount anyone, right? And I've never been the kind of person that says, okay, this is going to be the next big one, or, you know, this person is the best, you know, because, you know, when I was running, you know, all 8 guys had a chance. If you were on the track, you had a chance to win, you know, so I'm not in the business of counting anyone out. You know, but for me, you know, it's about the competition. You know, Sydney McLaughlin, for instance, is saying, hey, I want to come in and start running some 400s, right? Well, I have 2 girls that are in the 400. So how can I go to track practice every day thinking Sigma golfing is the best and coaching these two girls to compete against her?
Right.
It just doesn't mesh. You know what I mean? So, I go to track practice and I say, look, guys, we got Sydney who's trying to, maybe dabbling in the 400 this year. What we gonna do about it? So we set a plan to beat her.
Mm.
And it's just one
Absolutely.
of those things. So I never try to get into the realm of, who's the next biggest and who's not. To me, it's all about the thrill of the competition. You always want to go out there and you want to, put a plan together to win, and you want to beat people. So that is the foremost thing that I'm always bringing to the table.
Mm.
Okay, I can respect that. And my other question was, so the world record, Usain Bolt's 9.58, right? And
Yep.
the American record, Tyson Gay, is 9.68.
Yep.
Do you? I mean, is it realistic to think anybody can compete against that 9.58, or is anybody that can maybe beat that 9.68? I mean, I think the closest time that I saw to the 9.68 was like a 9.74, maybe.
Yeah, 7.4, 7.3. Yeah.
Okay.
Man, that's just action figure time. That's a made up person time. 9.5. I mean, for real, just wrap your minds around that. In 9 seconds, this man done ran 100 meters, which is further than 100 yards, by the way.
Correct.
Yes, it is.
Fast. That's fast.
Yeah.
I mean, this Superman. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm gonna let you answer the question, Mr. Mitchell, but that just blows my mind. Yeah.
Well, the thing with it is, when Tyson Gay ran 9.68 and Usain Bolt ran 9.58, at the time, we were saying, okay, nobody else can run that fast. That's it. That's the world record, and it's going to be there till the end of time, but what happens is technology gets better. And what is they take Tyson Gay's 100 and they break it down every 10 meters. They break it down in terms of how he was striking the ground, how his foot was swinging through, what his body angle was, what was the fastest parts of his race, what was the accelerated parts of his race, what were the decelerated parts of his race. And we all, as coaches, we all get that information.
Mm.
So once you get that information, you say, hey, I can coach this, or I can coach a guy to run this fast. It's not as hard as you think it is when you look at it mathematically.
Mm.
Right. So,
I wasn't no
now
good
that
at
we have the
math, so-
numbers on Usain Bolt, I can't wait to get a guy that can train to run that fast. And I think I got at least one of them now.
Hey Dennis, I was never good at math, so I know I wasn't running that fast. As
You
good
know
as
what?
I was gonna get.
You know what? I
was as
wasn't
good as I
either.
was gonna get. I was as good as I was.
But
gonna
you get records like, and you talked about the 84 Olympics. That was the one in Los Angeles, right? And the 28 Olympics going to be in Los Angeles. But
Yep.
the women's 100 record has held up since FloJo ran it in 84.
Yep.
Okay.
Now
Well,
that one, that's a different animal right there.
I know that
It's
when
a different animal.
we had Damu on the show and she was talking about speed and all whatever else, and her being in shape versus like her collegiate years, and when she started training and working with you, she
said
like,
you called her fat, Dennis.
Yeah, you called her fat. And she said, I'm not in shape. And I was like, I went back and looked at some tape of Damu. I was like, say what? She was fat. But then I looked at her like once she trained and like she looked different and she was like getting ready for Olympic. Her whole body changed.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a contribute to you as a coach, but also the science of it, how you can take a person's body and change it to get them to run to a speed that they want to actually win a medal. And I was like, man, that's just unbelievable that they know that information.
I mean, it's all for me. Like I was telling you guys before, I'm a mathematical coach. I coach the numbers, right? And if a person or a guy, for instance, running 100, if a guy is not putting down, and I'm just talking about the ball of your foot, not the whole foot, just the ball of your foot. If you're not putting 500 pounds of pressure into the ground per square inch, you can't run 9.8.
Ooh,
You
man,
just can't. You have to put that kind of pressure in the ground.
I'm blown
right?
away what you just said.
So let me ask
500
So
psi per
yes,
step.
sir. Yes, sir.
Ooh, man.
And if you can't do it, you can't run certain speeds. So if you don't have the proper physical attributes to run a certain or compete at a certain level, then you're just not going to compete at that level. So, when I'm coaching Damu, when she first came to me, I mean, yeah, we had to have the conversation of being fat because, at the end of the day, fat doesn't create power. It creates load. Right. So
Yes, sir.
at the end of the day, she had to get an understanding of, what things on her body can help her and what things cannot, and it was a struggle. But at the end of the day, I tell athletes, especially developmental athletes, I said, look, if you want to be in the Olympics one day, look at the Olympic final and look to see what those girls look like. And if you don't look like them, then you can't compete at that level.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
I
just
mean,
one of those things.
it's tight, but it's right. It's tight, but it's right. I was just about to ask you, and I know Tate has another question. Is there a stereotypical look, like, for running backs, they is 6 foot 220 around that whole thing? Is there like a stereotypical look of a track athlete that you're looking for specifically, or do they come in all types and sizes?
Man, they come in all types of sizes. At the end of the day, if you have the physical attributes to sprint well, right, it's always going to come down to that dog in you, man. That's what it all comes down to. So at the end of the day, I'd rather coach the dog in you than those numbers.
I hear
Because the
that.
dog always going to fight.
Right.
Right.
Always gonna fight.
They're gonna go
Always
get
You
it.
can
gonna fight.
have great technique and still get last place.
Right.
But if you got that dog in you, man, that's invaluable.
Man, that's wow.
And believe it or not, at that level, not everybody's a dog. They all
I
are
can believe it.
talented, but not everybody's a dog.
I can believe it. Some people just got their own talent alone, but don't have a heart. AD always down. You know what I'm saying? But they had the athletic gifts, but the heart, the ticker ain't there. It pump Kool-Aid. So I totally understand it.
For clarity, Dennis, I'll be on Anthony Davis like there ain't no tomorrow, man. There's a couple of guys I'm on right now. And so for clarity, I that always down is, that's what we talk about around here. Got all the talent in the world, but just horrible. Can't make it through a week.
In his defense, he's been playing good the last month and a half.
He's out a month.
He's out a month. He's down.
He sneezed too hard, and his meniscus is messed up.
He out again?
He out a month,
out a whole month.
He on the shelf, bro.
His foot is hurt.
He on the shelf, man.
He done hurt his foot. Getting out of bed, he done hurt his foot.
Hey, Coach Mitchell, I just wanted to ask you about your Star Athletic Club. Like, what athletes do you have in there, and who can we look at some of the athletes that you have that we can pay attention to?
Well, I mean, I want you to look at all of them. But on my girl side, obviously I have, Sha'carri Richardson, Kaylin Whitney, Kyra Jefferson, Tiana Daniels, and Javianne Oliver. Between all of those 4 girls, all of them have either been ranked in the top 10 in the world or, have a world level medal. On the guy side, I have Kenny Bignard. He's been a silver medalist both years in last year's Tokyo and this past summer's World Championship. Kyrie King. Who else do I have out there?
You got a couple Canadians that won gold.
Got Aaron Brown's Canadian. Jerome is Canadian. And I just picked up 2 Paralympic athletes, which is a new adventure for myself. I have one guy that is an amputee kind of right through the knee and one that's below the knee. Desmond Jackson and John is my other guy. But they are, I've just picked them up the last couple of weeks, but that's a new venture for me. So now you guys going to have to be looking at the Paralympics too to check those guys out.
Will
Wow.
do, definitely.
Goat
So
milk,
then,
Tay. Goat milk. That's the goat. Straight goat, man. Goat milk, right? We got goat milk on
Hey,
the show, man.
trying
Goat.
to
say,
expand things, man.
GOAT.
Dennis,
Trying
No
to
doubt.
we're about to switch gears. I know that you're a football guy as well. You like football, so we're gonna talk about a little football. Want to stay on with us?
yeah, man. I'm looking at my Patriots play right now.
We gonna
What
get
it
to
look
that
like?
in a minute.
What's the score?
Let me see. I know we're winning.
Oh, that's good.
It's about two minutes left, or 4 minutes left, something like that. They getting ready to go to commercial. Hold on.
Man,
But I am pissed off at my team this year, man. They got some problems.
Hey, since we talk about the Patriots, I gotta ask you, man. Matt Jones, man.
He a bad man.
Coach. Matt
He a
Jones?
bad man.
Wait a minute,
Bad man.
wait a minute. Matt Jones a bad man?
Let me hear what you gotta say. I just want to throw
First
that
of all,
out there before you start
I
sliding
said
on it.
no. I said this last week. Matt Jones ain't as bad as everybody think he is.
He
He
ain't.
just his offense coordinator sucks, but
Coach,
he's not bad.
Thank you.
Coach,
He's not
Matt
bad.
Now, if
Jones.
you look at the
Coach,
stat,
go.
man, get that out of here.
Coach, Matt Jones trash, man.
He is not.
Man.
You look at his stats, man. He is top 5 quarterback in the league, statistically. Now
Matt
his
Jones?
team is losing. His team is losing, but it ain't his fault, man. We ain't got no offensive coordinator, man.
That's the problem. I'm wondering what Belichick thinking, making Matt Patricia, the former defensive coordinator, the offensive coordinator.
Now, Kevin, you know I love me some Belichick, right?
Yeah.
This is an instance where his ego has gotten in his way. See, now he thinking he can do too much. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? He think he can just bring a defensive coordinator in there and make him an offensive coordinator because he Bill Belichick. He's smart enough to do that. You know, but nah, man. Again, we've been talking a lot tonight about respect. Respect the job.
Yeah.
You know, you just can't go in just because you the smartest guy in football, think you can do everything. You can't.
Yeah.
You got to let other people do their thing.
But he had the GOAT, though. He had the GOAT milk playing quarterback for all them years.
Oh, for real. For
the
real.
GOAT. Listen, Tom Brady, GOAT, if there was ever a GOAT. Him and Money.
Yes, sir.
Him and Mike.
Yes, sir.
Well, first of all,
GOAT.
you know the goat milk has been coined by Tate Boy Fresh. But man, listen, we had the Ravens versus the Browns. The Ravens versus the Browns. The Browns won 13-3. Deshaun Watson got out here and got busy. Huntley didn't have too good of a game. He was 17-30 for 138 and 1 interception. J.K. Dobbins played good. But of course, Deshaun Watson was 18-28, 161, 1 tutty, and Nick Chubb finally got off the snide.
That's getting busy.
He got busy. Nick Chubb was 21, had 21 carries, 99 yards rushing. And that, I think, was the big thing for the Browns. Listen, that division right now is a dumpster fire. I'm waiting on you to put that.
The division is dumpster fire.
Y'all's division, the Browns. Y'all division is trash.
The what?
The Browns, the only good team y'all got is the Ravens, right? In y'all's division.
You got the Bengals.
Okay, the Bengals.
So
Bengals,
just let me say, Dennis, you got to hear this on the show, man. I'm sorry that you're privy to this, but I got to check this guy real quick.
Do you think
the NFC East has played the AFC South?
It doesn't matter. It don't matter. You play who's on your schedule. Y'all done played some of them teams too, and y'all done lost.
No, bro.
What's your record?
The majority of their games
we'll get
the
to it
NFC East has played the AFC South.
We'll get to
the
it
AFC
later.
South is dumpster fire.
We'll get to it later.
The AFC North is actually one of the better divisions in football.
Okay. All right. We'll get to that later. So we have the Buffalo Bills at the the Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills. That game was crazy. It was played in a literal blizzard, and Buffalo won 29-32, 29-32. Tua was 17-30 for 234, 2 touchdowns, and Josh Allen was 25 of 40, 304 and 4 tutties. That's crazy by itself. Josh Allen is a monster. He is a beast.
Tay got off the snod. Tay got off the snod. He got Josh Allen in fantasy and hit big. Hit big with Josh.
I'm still going to lose.
Oh, man, Tate, man, come on, man.
We may have seen the best run in football from a quarterback today. Didn't matter, all for nothing. They lost the game. Justin Fields went on a madman run today, which was crazy. But the Eagles beat the Bears 25-20. Tough game for the Eagles, but they still remain victorious in that one. We had Detroit over everybody. The Detroit played the Lions. The Lions played the Jets today. The Lions come out 20-17 on that one. Definitely.
Coach, why you cheering for Detroit?
Because
I needed the Jets to lose today. Because I'm still fighting for a spot in the playoffs, man.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see that he was like, wait a minute, Detroit.
And we win. Yeah. We win, which we're winning right now. Right now, we're at least a game up to stay into the playoffs.
Yeah, and y'all was already in the last spot coming into today.
Right. So now we're a game up in the same spot. So it's a little bit more comfortable.
Makes sense. That makes sense. And Jared Goff today, 23 of 38, 252, 1 tutty. He
got busy. Jared Goff got busy.
He hit late. That was a big one late.
All he did was throw a tight end screen. Dude took it to the house. He really was just having a pedestrian game before that.
Yeah.
But he still won. He got the dub and he got the tutty. It is what it is. The Steelers. The Steelers 6-8. They won today 24-16. Mitch Trubisky.
Trash.
Favorite.
He got busy.
He was trash. He still was trash. He should have threw 2 picks, but I'm glad we won. I can't have it both ways. I love my Steelers, but Mitch was out there throwing trash, man.
This is Big G's favorite quarterback.
He was like 17-21, wasn't
he? He should have threw 2 picks. I watched the whole game, and he was out there throwing some air balls, bro.
Dennis, I'm gonna tell you, Big G hates Mitch Trubisky.
I can't stand Mitch.
Likes him really bad.
Man, I can relate, man. I don't like him either, man.
Oh wow,
that's what I'm talking
about. Najee Harris got busy today. 24 carries, 86 yards, and 1 tutty. All right, we see you.
That's about 3.3 yards a carry. That ain't getting busy.
Hey, he had
Warren
a tutty.
Warren was out.
Man, Big G give the trash up too much. My getting busy up too much. Y'all got to find a median somewhere.
Hey man, listen, I'm gonna tell you the truth. If you get over 70 yards as a professional running back, you're doing something. You go out there and do that. You go out there and get 3 yards a carry. I bet you can't. You know what I'm saying? We got the Chiefs at the Texans today, man, and it was a harder game. The Texans gave it up, man. They came to play today. The Chiefs won 30-24 in overtime. They had to go to overtime to win this game.
Yeah, I hate to see the way the Texans lost on that. Quarterback was running and they stripped the ball. He fumbled and the Chiefs was in range. I mean, they didn't get a field goal. They scored a touchdown, but they was in range. I thought the same thing was going to happen with Trevor Lawrence, but it didn't.
He don't want to hear that. I can't wait till we get to that game. Come on, keep talking.
It didn't, and we're definitely. I can't wait to talk about it either because I'm not a hater, and I'm not one of them that was gonna sit here and have something like, "Oh, my team." But Patty Mahomes really got busy. 36-41, 336 and 2 tutties. He went ham. Travis Kelce, as always, 10 for 105. Juju Smith-Schuster, 10 for 88, and McKinnon 8 catches. 70 yards and 1 touchdown. Definitely, the Chiefs at this point are in control. They are 10-14. Let's see, is that right?
Yeah, they're
11-3. They're an 11-3 team.
They're one up on Buffalo in the AFC.
Yep. The Falcons and the Saints today. The Saints won 21-18. It was a closer game than we all thought. I guess I thought. Because I didn't think Desmond Ridder would have a good game. He didn't really. 13 of 26, 97 yards. But Algier was back, and he had 17 carries, 139, and one tutty. Definitely for the Saints, it was Andy Dalton with two touchdown passes, and Taysom Hill had 2 passes for 80 yards and 1 touchdown. Alvin Kamara with 21 for 91 yards, and Shaheed today had 95 yards of receiving and 1 touchdown. Definitely the next game we have here is the Cowboys versus the Jaguars. This was a nail biter, man. Cowboys got out to an early lead, 14-point lead. Then they started coming back. I'm gonna tell you something. Kelvin Joseph, I'm finally happy at the end of the game. I'll take the loss, but I'm so happy at the end of the game. Dan Quinn finally saw Kelvin Joseph ain't the one, man. I mean, take his mixtape, pull all the tape out of it, break it, throw it out of there, pull his name off the locker.
That's the dude. That's the rapper.
Yeah, Boss Man Fat.
Boss Man Fat.
He got burnt like toast. I mean, horrible, deplorable. I mean, and this has been happening the last couple of games. I feel about Boss Man like G feels about Mitch Trubisky. I feel that same way.
You're not going to attribute none of that loss to Dak's interceptions.
Correct.
No, because
which I've been saying all year.
Here's the reason why I want to attribute that to Dak. Every interception Dak has had over the last 4 games, if you go back and you review the tape, these are tip balls. And I had to kind of definitely talk to G about this too. When you have nobody on your team, receiver-wise, who can test the boundary, who can run an out to where they're consistently getting open on an out route, when you got nobody who can do that outside of CeeDee Lamb, who's getting open in the slot and over the middle, definitely you're going to face a lot of double high safety. And when you do that, if you as a receiver tip a ball, guess who's there to waiting to catch it?
One of the interceptions was off a player's chest, a deflection. That's the one that got ran back in overtime. Mm-hmm. But the first one was all on Dak. He just overthrew the tight end.
The first one was on Dak. He never should have threw it. I'll give that one to Dak. That was on 4.
That's 10 INTs since week 8 for Dak.
That's correct. 10. It's 1 a game. He's throwing. The boy is offering up 1 a game. I don't understand it. He's offering up 1 a game. But
since week 8, that's almost 2 a game.
Yeah. So,
but Tate did not tell you that Dak Prescott can't throw a guy open. Didn't I say that on the show?
That's a lie because he threw Hendershot open today. He threw. Anyway.
But you know who can throw a guy open?
We're not listening to you.
Trevor Lawrence can throw a guy open.
Oh, we're not listening to you right now.
Was Trevor Lawrence out there throwing guys open?
To you.
Trevor Lawrence threw 4 tubs, all I know. I mean,
he did throw 4 tubs to wide open receivers. He did. All right, so we have the Broncos the Cardinals at the Broncos 24-15. Well, I mean, we kind of saw this coming, man. The AZ is pretty much done. They're playing for pride at this point, man. I mean, honestly, Rippon played this game, and he had some decent numbers. I mean, it wasn't life-changing, but 21-26, 197, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But Murray had 24 carries, 130 yards. That was the difference there. Definitely, we got the Patriots at the Raiders. Fourth quarter. Wow, 37 seconds left. Y'all up 1. And the Raiders 1st and 10 at the New England 30. What is it looking like over there, Dennis?
Coach watching.
Well, the Raiders just scored, and they're reviewing the touchdown. But I think he stepped out of bounds in the end zone. But the play's under review right now. So they could either tie it up or say no play and they go back to the 30. So we're waiting on that review call now. But it looks like he stepped out of bounds.
At the 30 or in the end zone?
No, in the touch he were
on the 30 and threw
a corner route.
Okay.
He caught the ball, but it looks like he stepped out of bounds in the end zone.
Ooh.
So it's either a touchdown or he caught the ball out of bounds.
Who's the Raiders coach? Josh McDaniel?
Somebody who don't need to be there.
Yeah, he about to get fired, man, because that's 2 weeks in a row, man. They was up
Somebody
17-3, and they let the Pats come back and get on them, man.
Yeah,
But
man. We came back.
that was more or less on Derek Carr. Derek Carr threw a pick six like that. That was a great play by Duggar, though.
Last week he was playing trash against the Rams. Back-to-back Raiders trash.
Yeah, I do think the Raiders do need a new quarterback.
They need a new coach.
Josh McDaniel just got there. He's not going to get fired this year.
It's time for Derek Carr to send him packing because that boy is hot trash. Get him up out of here, man. Get him gone.
He's garbanzo. And then we have the Titans. What's the call, Coach? First, before we move on, what's the call?
They still looking at it.
All right, keep us posted there. Keep us posted. We got the Titans at the Chargers. That game is 14-7 right now. It's 14-7. The Chargers are up. The Titans have the ball first and goal at the Chargers 4.
Let it by going to tie it up.
B-Dirt said McDaniels can swing down the AZ and share a moving truck with Kingsbury. Yeah, absolutely.
And swing to Indianapolis and pick Jeff Saturday up as you're on your way on out.
Pick him up on a Saturday. Hey, look, pick him up on a Saturday, G. Pick him up on a Saturday. Jeff Saturday on a Saturday. Let's go on and get him. And then the Bengals at the Bucks. It's fourth quarter, 2:32. It's 27-17, but it's 4th and 1 at the Tampa Bay 20. The Bengals got the ball there. They look like they're about to score again.
Hey,
put this one away.
That Joe Bird looked horrible in the first half.
Yeah, what happened in that game? It was 17-3 at halftime.
He came back killing them.
Joe Bird, 26 of 38, 188, 3 tutties with 1 interception. Looks like Chase got 1, Boyd got 1, and Higgins got 1.
The trio out there banging them. The Bengal boys rough, boy. They rough.
They just gave the Raiders the touchdown, 23-24.
So
it looks like we're going to overtime. It's 32 seconds left. Unless the Raiders go for 2 points.
Unless they go for, if he go for 2 points,
then he is gonna get fired.
He's gonna get fired. Don't get him off.
They already done started the truck up. If that truck is up and running right now.
They got a Greyhound bus ticket waiting on it right there. It's waiting on it. Just go ahead. We finna go and get you off.
They'd have moved all this furniture in the hallway already, man. They set all this up against the wall in the hallway, bro. They done moved all this furniture out.
Then tonight's game, the Giants at the Commanders. That's going to be an interesting one as well. One of those teams are going to be eliminated from the playoffs unless the Seattle keeps losing. But I mean, they're both with tied because they had
don't forget about Detroit either, though. Don't just put Seattle in it.
Yeah, Detroit too. Detroit's coming, man. And I don't think they're going to lose anymore. But, man, we're getting ready. What's our parting shots? We have this thing that we do, Dennis, man. It's parting shots. Anything on your mind, anything you want to talk about, make sure you just go ahead and say it, man. It's your parting shot. And I'm going to give you one. Matter of fact, I'm going to start with Tate first so you can see how our parting go.
My parting shot, man, I just want to congratulate and give it up to North Carolina Central for getting Dion on out of town. Go on, Dion. You ain't finna win no HBCU championship and then leave. Go on to Colorado. Take your boys with you. I'll be rooting for you then, but I was rooting against you yesterday.
Hater. All right. Big G, your parting shot.
Man, y'all know how I get down. I got passion. I got love. It's always about go Buckeyes for me, man. But let me tell you something, man. Ryan Day, you on the hot seat, buddy. You just lost the #1 overall quarterback in the country for next year's class, Daniel Raiola, who said he decommitted from the Buckeyes because he knows, just like the running back from Florida knows, the word is out there that Ryan Day might not be the coach for the Ohio State Buckeyes moving forward. So I hope that you get it together. I hope that you're able to pull something out against them Georgia Bulldogs. And please don't get in the championship game and lay an egg against Michigan. But Ryan Day, your time might be short. It's time to get it together. If not, the Buckeyes, my beloved Buckeyes, is in a little bit of trouble. So hopefully you get it together, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Man, definitely. I saw that too. The transfer portal is crazy, man. It's wild at this point. It's the wild, wild west. And man, my parting shot of as always, I thank everybody for watching with us and rocking with us. Make sure that you like and subscribe, like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube and Twitch, so that when we go live, you'll definitely be there to get those things, to get those notifications and be there with us. I want to say again, brother, I am super impressed. I cannot say it again. I called G last night, and I don't think people get the gravity of this. One whole neighborhood beat the whole state of Texas. It's blowing my mind. The Division 5A large, South Oak Cliff won that. The Division 6A small, DeSoto won that. Division 6A big, Duncanville won that. And it's just the equivalent of the east side of Lima beating and winning all of the state championships. And it's crazy. It's
Ohio,
one of those things that just blows your mind.
Ohio got the same thing in the MAC. Marion Local, New Bremen, Coldwater, Trio. They lock it down every year.
But when you have these schools 8 miles apart from each other, and then you got pros that actually came from this side. I mean, Dallas Carter's actually in that vicinity, but it's just that all of the kids are going to these different high schools. It's crazy to see. And now when you put coaching with these elite athletes, you can see what they do. You know, definitely. We have B Dirt's parting shot, TCU going down. And then of course, you know what he always says when he's done, you know, arrest Brett Favre. That's my guy's parting shot. But again, I like to thank you guys for rocking with us, man. We appreciate your viewership. We've had fun. And until next week, no, I got to tell you, we will not be here next week. Next week is Christmas. Everybody going to be with their families. Definitely, this is not the last show we'll have of the before the new year. We're going to have one more, but it won't be on a Sunday. But I definitely just want to tell you guys, thank you for rocking with us. We out of here. Peace.